in the television business, traditionally a network will pay a production company. They'll buy their idea and then pay them to execute it. So all these ideas, these black shows, they come from black people, but the only way a network will take the show is if it comes from a white production company, such as E1. People like Tara Long. And We Channel will only take our black stories if they're made and budgets controlled by white people. So I walk into E1, I see posters of black families all over the wall, but in the offices I only see white people. And the dysfunction that they cause and try to capture, they always want to put a camera on us, but you turn the camera on them, oh, get that camera off me, I'm not signing off and all that. They want us to make fools of ourselves, capture that narrative, play it over and over again so you believe it, and they want to make sure that they're not seen at all, and they never exploit their own culture. So I look at channels like VH1 and look at what's the biggest thing on the network is our dysfunction. Mm-hmm. I look at We Channel and they try to make us as legends look like dysfunctional people and actually do things to make it appear that way. And then the other programming is jail. You know, it's embarrassing watching the We Channel. Right. Life after jail. It's embarrassing making money. So my network isn't about the distractions and those patterns that they put into our brain or that make us think that we're less of who we are. And my network is about health, about, like, if we got diabetes, I got diabetes, so there's a Dash Diabetes Network. You know, we don't recognize trauma. The racism and the day-to-day life that we just think is normal is trauma, and we don't get therapy. And when we do get therapy, it's based on research done on white people, because black people don't get therapy to get research done on them. So we don't know how to recognize our own trauma, and we don't know how to help ourselves. We think being fucked up and being depressed is normal, and it's not. We don't teach financial empowerment on television. We get taught, yo, take a short price so you can make some money going to the strip club. Build your brand that way. Be stupid and act crazy so people will pay to actually talk crazy to you in person.
So what's that process like, right? 'Cause you said that the network is in Charlotte right now.
It's also over the air.
Over the air. Has it been tough with actual, I guess, big networks trying to broadcast it or syndicate it, or what has that process been like for you?
I mean, right now I'm just opening up shop, so it's been cool. It's been easy as fuck. It's been having information and understanding it and applying it. The shit they don't teach us. It's been expensive figuring it out, but it's been worth it and it's been fun.
So you know? let me ask you this. So I don't want to compare you to Netflix, but I'm just using them as an example.
Definitely compare me to Netflix.
All right, even better. So Netflix, if anybody's not familiar, they spend the most money out of any TV station in the world on original content, and they're also heavily in debt. Like,
let me explain that to you.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you a question. So they spend so much money that their profit margins are extremely thin because they're spending. Apparently,
I don't think that's their business model.
Okay.
I think their business model is buying content and then leveraging it later. But in the beginning, they were licensing, and that's the reason why they lost so much money, was because they were licensing. And then when they did their own original programming, I think it was called House of Cards, that changed the whole game for them. But every year they do lose $1 billion, but they raise $1 billion.
Yeah.
But they, at the end of the day, there's probably one company that's just for, and you know they own Stars too, by the way. So basically they can incubate one there and put it there. And I think one company is really primarily for, I'm not saying that I know it, but if I was a betting man, I would think one is for the subscriptions, which is a loss, but they can raise money and blah, blah, blah. And the other is for the content that they own that they can leverage, that they'll be getting residual income from, because they actually are paying people to make shit that they own.
Well, yeah, so, but my question was, as far as creating content that is expensive, that's why they have to borrow money, I'm assuming. How does that relate to you? Like,
that's a scam. They're just paying for fucking, too much money for craft services and shit. I own all the cameras, so I cut out all that bullshit. I could do everything. So I ain't gotta pay a writer. I ain't gotta outsource a production company. I am the production company. I ain't gotta rent no cameras. I got the cameras. I ain't gotta rent no editing bays. I got the editing bays. And if I gotta act, I'm gonna jump in front of that shit and do it too.
And you 100% funding all your projects.
100.
And all right. So you pretty much just, it's a more efficient manner as far as not just paying this crew, that crew to shoot this. Everything is in house, so it's less. Because the reason why I'm asking you, because I know you're heavy.
Outsourcing makes no sense. Because then people make up jobs to get paid for it. Cuts out a lot of bullshit when you know how to do it yourself. See, I'm not only administrative, I'm creative. So people be thinking that shit is normal, that I could direct, act, write, play instruments, just do everything. When I say I direct something, like some people are just known for directing and that's it. That's all they do. When I say I direct something, they be like, oh yeah, that's Dame, he directs. Oh shit, he's acting and he's not an actor, but it's Dame. Like, you don't recognize me as an actor. You don't look at me as a director. You don't look at me as a producer. You don't look at me as a fashion icon and a fashion, but I do all these things and I've started all these businesses from scratch. All the things that people went to school for, I dominated at a very young age.
Nah, I think we do recognize you as all of those things.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's
Just in
normal.
general,
It's just normal.
Yeah.
It's like they think it's normal.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, Nicolette had a show. I picked up a guitar and started playing. It's just, that's not normal.
So the fashion industry, I heard somewhere where you were saying that the profit margins are extremely low in the fashion industry.
Yeah,
that's something
sucks.
that you was involved in, but I don't think you're really involved in fashion anymore. Like,
No, I still am.
You still are?
Yeah.
How's your experience? Because you've had several different multi-million-dollar companies. What's your experience in the fashion world? Because that's a whole different conversation as well. The fashion industry, I feel like.
The fashion world is you have to build the brand first and you have to lose money for a little while before you gain it. But if you actually build your brand doing something else and you have the wherewithal to actually make clothing and content, not content, clothing with a point of view, then you could have a direct-to-consumer relationship. It doesn't have to be not so profitable. So traditionally, the fashion business sucks if you're going through it, where you have to order a bunch of inventory ahead of time, whether people are gonna buy it or not. You got to plan. You got to put it up. If somebody orders $1 million worth of shit, unless you got 500,000 to not be able to touch for like 6 months, then you can't do it. Like, growth can kill you. But in this day and age, if you go to a factory, make your clothes, and sell it directly to your consumer, market it by yourself because it's your point of view. You have Instagram. There's so many ways to do things now. So the traditional way of doing things, it makes it where a normal person would need an institution and have to sell his whole soul away to get it done. What I've been trying to explain to people for years is you don't have to do that no more. People are just catching on. But I've been saying it for years.
You helped and mentored and pretty much started a lot of brands. Rachel Roy, obviously, you've obviously mentored Ye. Are there people right now that you're looking at? Are you still involved in that process of mentoring and giving people the guidance in the fashion industry?
In fashion?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Poppington is. That's my fashion. So we make clothes, we make socks, we make everything. But right now it's about really building the brand. And at some point I'll license it out. My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.